Welcome to the Filmcast review of The Odyssey. Now, I want to just start right out the gate by letting people know that our plan for today's episode is you should assume that there are spoilers for this film from the beginning. I know what some people may be reacting to right now. How can you spoil a 3,000-year-old thing, David? I think
That's
some
what I
people
said.
might.
That's what I said.
Was
And
that
anybody who comes
imitating
at
Devindra
me,
just now? That was not intentional.
yeah,
It was pretty spot on.
you've had your entire lives to, bone up on the Odyssey. And you've probably heard a lot of these things too.
What
these
I was
things are
gonna
in the
say,
culture. Yeah.
what I was gonna say was that some people may find, despite yes, we all, I think most people know what the plot points of the Odyssey are, but even if you
Mhm.
don't, regardless of any of that, some people might find a discussion of how exactly these things are rendered on screen to be spoilers. So I'm
Sure,
just
sure.
we're letting people know right out the gate. Like, if you care about spoilers, bookmark this, come back afterwards. We will start with overall thoughts and then get into spoilers, but you should assume there's going to be spoilers right from the beginning.
There's
Okay.
a number of scenes where you're going to be like, "Man, they ripped this off from Star Wars."
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you say that, right? Because Christopher Nolan said that one of the reasons why he tackled this story is because it is so foundational to not only so many of his films, but to so many of the stories that we read today.
Wow,
So
it's a human story.
it
It
is
is
human,
the human story.
the story.
Yeah.
Mankind, the story.
Yeah.
Okay. So all that said, we are going to talk about our overall thoughts of the Odyssey, and then I'm going to ask some questions about like specific sequences or scenes. And so it's going to get specific real quick. But let's begin. Overall, Devindra Hardwar, what did you think of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey?
I think this movie is a masterpiece. For many reasons, right? It is such a perfect pairing of director and material. Nolan has always like pushed the boundaries in terms of like what stories he's trying to tell. He's always pushed to make epics, really, and his ideas are big. I think of like, I don't know how many people would tackle something like Interstellar, like something that basically kind of even reworks the way we visualize the black holes, and that something that goes so hard. Pairing him with the foundational epic of storytelling that we know, a story that's almost 3,000 years old, and a story whose influence has rippled through time. Everything you've seen and heard has the Odyssey in it. I think it's just a perfect pairing, and I was thrilled throughout this movie. I do wonder how it's going to be play for people who aren't like very aware of the story or things that happen, because it is in typical Nolan style. It's kind of like elliptically told. We don't know where we're beginning. We don't know where Odysseus is as the beginning, and slowly you start to make sense of things. But I think like by the end, even if you don't fully grasp like why the Trojan War happened or why certain things happened, the movie propels you along in a way that feels really thrilling. I saw it in a press screening, but also there was like 80% of people with screening passes, of normal people just coming to see this movie, and people were on board, clapping, shouting, like just fully into the more thrilling elements of the story, because shit gets wild. There are some incredible set pieces here. I think my main takeaway from this movie is not only did I love it, but also it feels like just a big middle finger to AI. Watching this movie, you see the sheer amount of human effort and creativity that's gone into producing this movie. They built those boats. I believe they built that Trojan horse, and it's people dragging it through the sand in the way that people used to have to drag large objects in ancient times. Um, but even like the scope of the story, it is something that echoes through time for humanity. This was originally a spoken word poem, a spoken word epic. We just have Homer's version that was written down. So it feels epic in ways that few things do. I also saw it in a 70 millimeter normal screening, not IMAX, but it looked incredible. I cannot wait to see it in full frame IMAX, because I cannot imagine like just how large and how clear these images will look. So I loved everything about it, but also I'm in the target market for somebody who would love a big budget Odyssey movie because I've studied this stuff for years. I spent time translating the Iliad and the Odyssey in high school, so I know the story. And what I love it specifically is like this movie gets the poetry. There are some beautifully poetic, visually poetic moments in here that are like essential bits of reading that story too. And, you know, things that happen, like, well, as we go through, I'll point some of them out, but small things that feel so beautiful and things I remember from translating these stories. Nolan has captured those. He has done a lot to like really recreate the story in a big, bold way. And I freaking love it. I think people are going to enjoy it too.
Jeff Kanata, your thoughts on the Odyssey?
Well, Dave, I guess you could say my thoughts on the Odyssey are best summed up in the form of a limerick.
Let's hear it, Jeff.
A grand cinematic rendition of the original Man on a Mission. Some scenes I'm agog, but that first act's a slog. Can't we cut out some dry exposition?
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be the contrarian here because I
am
think
stunned. I'm in shock right now.
I know.
I'm in shock.
I knew this was going to happen.
There's so very little exposition. It just kind of throws you into it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Jeff.
I know. It's going to be Pile on Jeff Day. It's okay. Yep. I can handle it. I'm going to be much cooler on this movie than you guys. Wow. I think it has major problems, major pacing problems. And I think through the first half of this movie, I was actively not liking it. And then it gets better and better and better as it goes. And by the end, it just crescendo after crescendo and undeniably spectacular and amazing. And there are moments that are just undeniably great. That said, it's way too long. Like an hour of this movie could be cut out and you would have a better movie, in my opinion. He just wants to cram in every single bit of the Odyssey, and I don't think that's necessary or additive. I mean, like literally every scene with John Bernthal can be out of this movie and will not change anything.
Oh man,
in my opinion. I think some of the sequences are clunky. It is like, especially in the first half, to my mind, it feels very contemporary. And I think that's a choice. I think he's trying to sort of contemporize the storytelling of this ancient story. But I had a real adjustment period to kind of getting into how the dialogue is written and how it's directed, feeling very contemporary to me. But that said, like I don't want to minimize just how spectacular the movie gets. And there are sequences, I saw this in full screen IMAX. They claimed they were projecting it in 70 millimeter. I don't know if that's actually true, but it looks...
Yeah, a word about that. So Devindra, you saw it in 70 millimeter normal aspect ratio.
And I guess I heard the film reel going. I heard the projector. It has that flicker of film. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jeff, if I recall correctly, you saw it. Your theater is a Limax theater, so it's like a relatively larger screen, but not full.
It's a real big, massive screen. Like there's IMAX here in Colorado that is, real Limax that you go in and you're like, this is IMAX. This is the one screen in Colorado, in the Denver area I know of that is, 10 stories tall and
that's
square shaped.
You saw the real IMAX, yeah.
Well, which theater was this, Jeff? Just so because there's been confusion about this in the past. But
I know you always want to nail me on this one.
I don't want to know. I just want to accurately represent. Like true IMAX is hard to actually find.
I'm not claiming it's a true IMAX. I did not say that. I'm saying there's an IMAX theater right down the street from my house that says it's IMAX. That is not anywhere close to what I saw this in, which is much farther away. It's the United Artists Colorado Center IMAX theater is where I saw it.
Got it. Anyway, thank you for sharing. Go ahead. I'll say, I think I had the worst experience of all of us because I saw it in it was advertised and sent out as 70 millimeter IMAX.
That's what mine was.
Yeah. 70 millimeter non-IMAX. So I was like, okay, cool. At least I'll get to see it on film. there was no 70 millimeter projection on this.
Really?
Like,
Yeah,
it
they
was,
claimed it was 70 millimeter. I don't know if the theater that I was in does that, but
because I saw
that's what they said.
Oppenheimer. I saw like there was no cigarette burns, and you know it's film when they need to make the changeovers. This whole thing played uninterrupted. It looked like a digital projection. It did not look like a film projection.
Did you ask them? Like, if you ask your reps, they will tell you how it was actually projected.
Well, the reps were the ones that sent out the email about the 70 millimeter, so I didn't know if I could trust them.
Because sometimes it's like, yeah, they say it's going to be, and oh no, our projector broke, because that happens for every single 70 millimeter screen.
That's my guess as to what happened. Or they couldn't find. There's probably like one projectionist in Seattle that can do this.
Yeah.
And so they probably couldn't find it, or that something went wrong with the reel. But I did not see it in 70 millimeter or IMAX. So I had.
Did you guys have vignetting on your, like, around the edges of the screen? It looked like an old Instagram filter where like the edges are a little vignetted.
No.
I mean, not that didn't feel within the scope of the actual film
that could
itself.
be, if you saw it in 70 millimeter IMAX film, Jeff. That could be.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe that's proof to their claim.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm cooler on this movie than you guys, but it is undeniably a spectacle. I just think it is. It takes so long to get revved up, in my opinion. And once it's revved up and going, it's going and it's awesome. But I think a significant trim to it would make for such a more palatable experience that, gets to the good stuff quicker. And the good stuff is so good. It really is, putting a big ass camera in a real place and shooting real things constantly. But there are sequences, like I know you guys are going to disagree with me, but I thought the Cyclops sequence was not good, in my opinion. There are sequences in the early part of the movie that I just feel like, man, it's just not working for me at all. But then the movie just keeps getting, keeps going. It's 3 hours, and there are moments that are truly phenomenal, and you kind of are amazed. There's very few filmmakers that could make this movie, and it is very episodic as the Odyssey is. And so I feel like certain episodes work for me and certain episodes don't, and I feel like if a more judicious cut of this feels to me like the extended edition. This feels to me like I'm watching the stuff that wouldn't normally make the theatrical cut, but because we're in IMAX town and the only chance for you to see the director's cut is in IMAX is to have it theatrically released, then we're getting that. And, nobody says no to Chris Nolan. So it just feels like, man, I wish there had been more constraint on this movie a little bit. And it would, I think, be, to my mind, better. But again, don't mistake that for me not thinking that there are truly phenomenal sequences and some of the visualization. I mean, there are things that you've seen a million times. There's things you've heard about a million times, but never like this. And I think that's one of the interesting things about this movie. It feels like an adaptation, and it is. It's an adaptation of a old work, but it's an adaptation that really looks at the material and attempts to do it in a completely fresh way. And I think that's the most exciting part of it, is seeing things that that you've seen many, many times done with a new eye. So I'm impressed with it. It's not my favorite Nolan movie. It's probably not going to be in my top 10 of the year, but it's an impressive piece of work for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I can hear you. I hear what you're saying, Jeff. Like I can see the want and need for something shorter, but you know what? Not for this. The entire point of this story is the journey, is the slog, right? And it never sits down and explains like, Odysseus went out here for this. Somebody, took Helen, and then this war was launched. It never sits down and tells you everything that's happening. They do it through glimpses of scenes, glimpses of conversations, and no one's like elliptical editing. So I feel like if it were an hour shorter, you'd have no idea what the real motivations are for a lot of these things. So I hear you, but also like, man, this is what 3 hour epic movies are made for. Like a story like this, to me.
I will just say I also loved the film. I also like Devindra. I think it's a masterpiece. I think that he makes some really interesting decisions.
Mhm.
You know, on last week's podcast, Jeff, you talked about how like these live action Disney movies, there's no take there. It's just like we're trying to recreate
This
it.
is a take.
This is a
for
take.
Sure. Yeah.
This
for
is a
sure.
take. And let's talk about it. I'll just bring up a couple of things that I think are distinct about this adaptation. First of all, one of the things Christopher Nolan is known for is trying to capture everything in camera. Like he is trying to make effects, visual effects, set pieces look as realistic as humanly possible. He has thus far not really applied that eye to fantastical things.
Sure.
Like the closest is probably Tenet or The Prestige, maybe even, but like in
the
general,
alien worlds in Interstellar, like the giant waves and stuff like that.
Interstellar,
Yeah.
that's definitely a better example.
Yeah.
But in general, it's all very grounded, like contemporary. Like it's not in the world of magic. Is generally Christopher Nolan's scope, and this is the first time he's applied that eye to. Or not first time again because of Interstellar and other stuff, but like one of the first times he's applied that eye to this kind of fantastical universe with these with gigantic Cyclops and other Greek gods and magical beings.
It's very much like I was just rewatching Lord of the Rings, like Fellowship with my kids, and I was like, where is this? Why are we not doing this? It's been 25 years since we made these movies, and nobody's out there kicking ass, making big widescreen epics, traveling the world, fighting monsters or whatever. And this is it. This is like that upgrade I've been waiting for.
So I found that to be, in general, very compelling. When he's able to capture the stuff in camera, it looks and feels very, very real. There are some times when it's clearly CG and it doesn't look as good, and that is a little jarring. But overall, it's like, wow, it actually looks like they went and somehow figured out a way to physically do a lot of this stuff. I'm sure
the
everything
Cyclops stuff worked for me because it feels like it doesn't feel like a CG model. It feels like
it's not. Yeah. It's some
dude.
dude.
It's some
I'm
dude.
sure
in
it
like
was.
a weird thing.
I'm sure everything was enhanced by visual effects, but I'm just saying, a lot of the stuff felt real to me in a way that I think previous adaptations or similar depictions have not been able to hit, and so that's one of the big things that I think the movie was able to achieve. I had suspected that there would be some time-bending element to this movie because Christopher Nolan basically is pretty much physically incapable of telling a story linearly. And in fact, that is what happens in this case of the Odyssey. I think it's very smart. He essentially follows two separate storylines, right? There is Penelope and Telemachus at Odysseus' home trying to figure out what to do with all these suitors in the hall, and Telemachus is trying to find his father. And then in parallel, Odysseus is marooned on the island with Calypso and is trying to figure out a way to
a very much older Odysseus.
Yeah,
too.
much older
Visibly
Odysseus.
older.
You're trying to figure out a way to get home. And then both storylines flash back to tell you kind of the story of how they got to this point. The first hour that Jeff is talking about, I can understand why someone would find it frustrating. It basically
messy,
doesn't involve Odysseus at all, virtually, right?
Yeah.
We
open on a beach and it doesn't explain much of what's happening there. That whole scene with Elliot Page, like it's beautiful, and then you're like, oh, that's the Trojan horse. What's it doing on the beach?
Right,
and we don't get
we only get a
full
glimpse of that
context
story,
for that
and
later.
then we cut to Penelope and Telemachus, and we follow them for quite a period of time before we even get into the story. But to me, this actually was I liked the way that it approached that because I got pretty invested in that storyline. Like, when you read about it in high school or grade school, it's like, oh yeah, all these people want to marry Penelope. That'll make sense. Like, what this movie does such a great job of is depicting how uncomfortable that situation would be for everyone
involved. It's the worst house party. It is the worst. It is like you have all these guests, they won't fucking leave, but because of Zeus's law, you got to take care of them. Like it is about hospitality and how you take care of people, except then they start to take advantage of you. Yeah.
That's the strongest theme of the movie, and I love how it lands the plane at the end with the theme of Zeus's law, and I think it is commenting on the world today and the notion of grace and hospitality and treating your fellow human as you would be treated. I think that rings true by the end of the movie, and it really hammers that point home in a way that I appreciated. So I did like that. I just think it takes so long to rev up, and so much of the opening parts of the movie are Telemachus and Penelope just jawing at each other, and it's like, I don't know, I had a hard time getting into this.
I'm surprised, Jeff, because like it wastes no time getting to scenes they had in the teasers and the trailers, where it's just like, this is the layup, right? Where the hell is Odysseus? It's been a very long time. Telemachus is like an adult now. He's a young man trying to find his father. They've been dealing with the suitor thing for a long time. I kind of like the way it sketches that base conflict, because that is ultimately the thing driving the entire story. Where is Odysseus? And then Odysseus is on this other island with Charlize Theron, and we don't know. They don't explain at all what he's
interesting.
doing there until very long. Yeah.
It felt to me like this massive info dump at the beginning of the movie. It did not feel like dramatizing that conflict. It felt like people explaining to me that conflict.
Sure.
And that's why I felt like it was just mired.
I think that goes back to the kind of spoken word aspect of this story, right? This is a story that was told. I love the way it begins in that way. There is an orator kind of starting to tell the story, and that is how the story was consumed by a lot of people.
Yeah.
I hear you. It's just like, for this, it's like it ties into like how we initially consume the story. I don't know. It just worked.
But yeah, Jeff, I'm sorry that first part didn't work for you. It worked for me. This is like the first 45 minutes of Die Hard for me. You know, it's like, this is what we need to get actually invested in the story. You can imagine, like, and I actually think this is better than if they told it linearly. Like if they told it linearly and we started with Odysseus and Troy, and then like, you know, then he went on his journey, and then, you know, and then we're cut to home and they've been waiting for a while. It's like, oh wow, I think that would have just been much less effective. The way they did it, I'm like, oh, I get it. This is like a hard situation that Penelope and Telemachus are in, and we want them to like get out of it. We want to see how they extricate themselves from this.
I wish it worked for me. Believe me.
Fair enough. Okay. The other thing, you know, that Jeff, you alluded to in your opening about it was the language, and obviously it's a very deliberate choice. When, you know, Jeff, I know you don't follow the trailers, but when the first trailer came out or teaser came out and Tom Holland referred to Odysseus' dad, people freaked out. They're like,
freaking out.
This is terrible. This looks like garbage. And Nolan wanted to modernize it. And there is a, I think, it's reasonable for some people to feel like there's an incongruity between this, what I would say is very, very modern language.
It's
like,
modern.
They're using terms like dad and mom and like
party.
Party, right? I heard the term party. I'm like, wow.
So Anne Hathaway is like, "You guys gonna party in here? You just partying in here?" And I'm like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah, I know. And it's it honestly reminded me a little bit, not quite the same thing, but a little bit of Death of Stalin, right? Which is
sure.
So Death of Stalin is a movie by, I think, Armando Iannucci, and there was a question of, why didn't you have everyone speak in Russian accents? And first of all, that would be extremely distracting. But also, what he did do was have everyone speak in different English accents, right? Like, and well, that was,
to be clear, I'm glad that's not what we did here. We just made everybody speak in British accents. I would have been very upset.
Right.
But I'm talking more about the quality of the language, not about the.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I mean, the contention, right, is in favor of the film is people back then probably had informal terms to refer to their parents as, you know, and other informal terms. And so we're just seeing whatever the equivalent of that would be.
Whoever was orating this story to you, it is up to them how they told that story, right? This is a story that it's like Play-Doh. It is flexible for the audience and adapted like who knows how many times over the centuries, over the millennia. I also want to point out, like, Nolan was inspired by reading Emily Wilson's translation of the Odyssey, which itself got a lot of controversy because she
Right.
modernized like how certain things were done, and there's a lot of like gross misogyny and stuff in there too. So I'm looking forward to reading her interpretation of it. But this is like Odyssey channeled down, modernized twofold over, based on what older translations were from even like a decade or so ago.
But yeah, you have to acknowledge that he's modernizing the language, but not modernizing the setting in any way, right? We're still, he's
right. Like there's an incongruity there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we're still, like, you know, using,
right.
You know, he's very, very intentionally building this world in a historical setting, and then kind of having people talk in a way that, as you say, seems incongruous to that setting.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of he wants to have it both ways. And for me, by the end of the movie, I had lost the annoyance about that. But like I said, it's a tough transition. Like the first 45 minutes to an hour of this movie, I was like, wow, this is not good. And it wins me over. It won me over by the sheer audacity of what you see, the sheer scale of what you see.
Right.
And there are moments, like there are sequences, I'm sure we'll talk about a number of them, but there are sequences when, especially in, you know, this massive IMAX theater that has IMAX sound, and the score is just assaulting you during some of these moments where it's just like, and you're just like, oh, I'm holding on for dear life in these moments. And it goes on and on and on, and people are doing things. It's like, at a certain point, you're just like, I am inside this movie, you know? So there's no denying that, where you know, a part of me was like, is what I'm watching even that exciting, or is the score like doing 90% of the work here?
The score is rattling your bones.
Yeah, there's a fight scene. I remember there's a fight scene like toward the end where it's like, I don't necessarily think this is one of the great fight scenes ever filmed, but the score is telling me that it is. Like it is, and you're so wrapped up in the intensity of where the score is going. It's like, it doesn't even matter when I could be watching two toddlers poke each other in the eye, and I'd be still be like, this is incredible.
I think that's part of like what works for me about this movie. It is very poetic in how it tells this story. So for the first hour, you were just like holding onto your armrest, trying to get a sense of like what is happening. But I actually think up front, it tells you a lot of stuff, and then it is very loosey-goosey about how it spends its time and what it focuses on. But you get to know these characters, and it's that Nolan style. Like I think people complained about it back in the Batman days too, just like, oh, he's just here now, he's in a different setting, you don't like give us a location shot, like we don't understand the editing of how Batman is moving around. And here it's kind of like that too, but he's basically saying keep up with what I'm doing here. And I also feel like this is a movie that feels like it will reward multiple viewings, because your second time you're not going to be like trying to figure it all out. You can actually enjoy those aspects of it. So I'm seeing it again in a couple days, and I was dreading it. I was like, if I don't like this movie, this would be torture for another 3 hours. But now I'm like, yes, give it to me now, stick it in my veins, please.
I do agree with that. I had that same sense of like, the first hour is going to land completely differently on a second viewing. The other thing I want to bring up real quick is I don't think you can, from my perspective, I don't think you can minimize the fact that Christoper Nolan is in a unique position where every single actor on Earth wants to work with him.
Yes.
And so this movie is chock-a-block with top tier talent, like a part that is like an under 5, you know, you have Mia Goth, like the star of other movies, in like an under 5 role in this movie. You know,
I'll play a house
under
servant.
5
Sure.
meaning under 5 minutes is what you're trying to say, right?
No, under 5 lines.
Under 5 lines. Okay, got it.
The smallest roles that you would never be able to get.
Right.
The star of other movies, like literally the above the line marquee star of other movies, are playing roles that would be beneath them theoretically.
That's right.
And so, like,
just to be a part of this crew, basically.
Well, and there is an effect, at least on me, and I suspect on a large swath of the audience. There's an effect that elevates that, where you literally see somebody just walking on. It's like, oh my God, that's a movie star.
Right.
And that's a movie star. And that's a movie star. And they're all like, they could all anchor their own films and have done.
Yeah.
But here it's this ensemble of all of the biggest stars on the planet, like in this world. And so there's something that kind of elevates the telling of this, where literally it is peopled by the biggest movie stars in the world right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's nothing like that.
That's how you tell an epic, right? Like the biggest, you will recognize every face walking onto the screen. And even it's like, it is genuinely surprising. I heard that John Leguizamo was cast in this movie. I did not realize who he would be playing. It's like, oh man, this movie shows so much love to John Leguizamo, an actor I loved growing up, and I feel like has not really had like great supporting roles recently. But this is, he plays, Eumaeus, the shepherd that is loyal to Odysseus, and it's just like there is so much heart and pathos in that character. It's like, God damn, what made you think of John Leguizamo for this? Thank you for even doing that. Like, there's some deep pulls here that I didn't really didn't expect. Hemish Patel, who I've loved in everything, is like one of the dudes on the boat with Odysseus and like practically second in command, it seems. And just I appreciate all the casting.
I was so excited to see Lupita Nyong'o, seeing her, she's just radiant and gorgeous. Oh yes, Helen of Troy. She's like in 4 minutes of this
4 minutes of the movie.
Less than 5 lines. Basically. Like,
okay. Couple of other things I want to point out about like how this story was told. One of the things that I'm actually very sympathetic to your take on, Jeff, is I love the movie. I think it's amazing. In my opinion, it's top tier Nolan. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the specific sequences and how they're amazing. But I did have a couple of small issues with the film. It will not surprise you to learn. And one of them is that we basically speed run through all of Odysseus's adventures. Like much time is spent setting up the Penelope Telemachus thing, and then literally the titular Odyssey is pretty much over by hour 3, right? And so the whole last
listen to the sentence you just said. It's over by hour 3.
Right? No, but like
I would hope so.
By the third hour, right? Like the final hour is like basically with him back at home.
Yeah.
And so like the Odyssey itself, in my opinion, only lasts about an hour and a half, right? In the middle of this film. And and I think that
it's the greatest hits. It's the Cliff Notes.
It feels like the Cliff Notes were like fast forwarding.
Which is what I'm saying. You can't make it shorter. It's already the Cliff Notes.
But you could cut out the other stuff. You could shorten the other stuff.
Each one of these adventures is enough for a whole movie. Right,
100%.
Each one of these encounters, is enough for a whole movie, and it often felt to me like we're just kind of speedrunning. Like we're not talking and hey, did you see the dead guy come out of the ground? Like we're not like talking and processing this incredible thing we just saw.
No, that just happened.
It feels very episodic. It feels
very
like
episodic, but like not in a good way. Not in a good way, in my opinion,
not in a good way.
Yeah, and so like that's. I wish we had either cut some stuff out, as Jeff suggests, or had an additional hour to like really process a lot of this stuff.
We didn't tell Lord of the Rings in one movie because that would have been a disaster.
I mean, this could have been
this could have been 3 movies. It absolutely could have been 3 movies,
or just 2 had been fine too. Yeah,
I wish he had taken the Dark Knight approach with this and made 3 movies out of it. That would have been great. Maybe he would have been able to get the money for it, but I do think like it does suffer from. Oh, and we're just on to the next. We're not even thinking about that incredible thing that just happened. We're just on to the next thing.
And he doesn't want to leave any of it out. He wants to cram it all in, and he wants to cram all in all the context too. So we have, like this sort of shorthand explanation of Helen of Troy and all of the sort of backstory stuff. It's just it feels so forced and dense, and it's like. Well, but you elongated this section and condensed this section, and for me, both things didn't really work. I wish, like I said, I think for me, honestly, I think that points to pacing problems. Like it feels rushed here and overlong here, and it could have been massaged a little bit better at the script level to or as you said, expanded into multiple movies so we don't have to feel that way.
I didn't feel it was too long there. I felt like the journey stuff was rushed. I did not feel the other stuff was too long at all. And but a totally fair point. But I will say, like, despite how rushed some of that middle stuff felt, I never lost the emotional through line of the movie, which is this guy's trying to get home. His wife and his son are in a terrible position, and like they're literally in danger, right? And so like that tension held for me throughout the entire 3-hour movie. By the way,
and
just data point.
Go ahead.
I went to see this movie with my brother. I said, "Hey, do you want to be my guest for the Odyssey?" And he has 2 very young children, and so he sees about, I want to say, 3 movies a year in theaters, right? So this is like a special thing for him to come see a movie. And we were sitting there before the movie began, and he's like, "How long is this movie?" And I said, "It's 3 hours long." And he said, "Oh yeah, I went to see Oppenheimer. That was 3 hours long as well." That felt like 3 hours.
Yes.
I'm curious if this will feel like 3 hours. We get out of the movie. He says, "It didn't feel like 3 hours." That's just random, take from another person as to what they thought. But okay, so those are like some of the big decisions I felt this movie made, right? Modernizing the language, changing the chronology, like as in terms of how you're showing it on screen. Also, by the way, one thing the movie does as well, I think is a pretty big choice, but like, we don't need to discuss how impactful this was, is other than Athena, it basically removes all the gods from the movie. Like there's no gods that are like,
you feel the influence of the gods, but they're not
Zeus
walking around.
Right. Like, and by the way, Athena, maybe she's not even there, right? Like, who knows? So it's like a kind of very grounded, no gods version of the Odyssey, which
no gods, but also clearly the gods are angry, right?
Well,
this is how humans interpreted the world back then. It's like, my journey is bad. I guess I got to blood sacrifice my daughter to have, to help me on this battle or something. That is how the world worked. And it was, I don't know. It kind of gives us a glimpse into that. Yeah.
Pretty big God moment with Circe, though, right?
Is
Circe a god?
She's a goddess. I guess that's
she's
right.
like
that Samantha Morton scene is one of the best scenes in the entire movie.
So let's talk about let's go through some of the big sequences of the film, right? So we've already spent time talking about the first hour. Let's talk about. I just want to
say, by the way, though, like the intro, I love a good opening shot, right? And the intro where they get to Elliot Page on the beach, it starts with the dinner sequence, the hammering.
Yeah,
this is the story beginning. That is a baller way to just get you into that.
Well,
and then
no. Devindra, let's go even further back. Let's go further back.
Let's go
to the Universal logo.
Yes.
No, I'm 100% serious.
Yes.
Right? The Universal logo comes on screen, but it is not planet Earth in modern day. It is Earth as it was back at the time that the story was told.
My favorite thing.
There are no electric lights. Like it's just lightning storms. I was like, that is awesome. I love
That's cool.
That's like one of my favorite ones of these like movie logo alterations.
It gets you. It's like, you're
cool.
in for something different here, and then it's not music getting you in; it is hammering.
Well, and then the text appears on screen. I don't remember what the text said. It was like something like,
"This is a time of magic."
Yeah, it was a time of magic or something.
No, it was a time of. There's an adjective before it. A time of. Evident magic or something like that. Like it's like a qualifier that's like it's a time of
apparent magic.
Apparent magic.
Apparent magic.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
It's like the gods may be influencing.
The gods may be influencing, or maybe they're not, right? And the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there's the goddess of Circe and also the big sea monster that comes out of the cliff and all the other stuff.
That's pretty big. Yeah.
And the huge
gigantic
pretty
Cyclops.
It's pretty apparent. It's pretty apparent. Okay. So then, yes, Devindra. Then we get to this like the song and the hammering on the thing.
This is how we start a story, is by this. This is the orator making you pay attention. That's what the movie does. Then, no context scene on the beach. Elliot Page,
right?
Looking incredibly buff, by the way, immediately killed. And I was like, "What are you doing in this movie?" It's like I just was so happy to see Elliot Page, and now it's just brutally killed. People were jumping out of their seats when that happened because the arrow shots are so loud and it's so brutal.
Yeah.
And then you don't fully know what's going on there. Keep going. Scene by scene.
It is real quick. It is. Did it seem weird to you guys how people shoot arrows in this movie?
Yeah.
It's so casual. the way they shoot arrows in
Right,
this movie.
right.
I think Matt Damon had to do a lot of training for it. So like he looks like somebody who's done it quite a bit. The way talk about flexes, right? The way he flexes that bow. How much did he
Yeah, it's
train? You
sick.
see his arm muscles. You see his chest muscles. Like he had to train to
Dude's
do
50
that
something
really
too.
roughly.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Incredible.
have to say that one of the most effective moments of a moment,
Mhm.
you know, we watch movies,
Yeah.
and sometimes there are moments that make us feel like we have transcended. Like,
Mhm.
oh wow, I'm experiencing pure cinema distilled into its essence.
Mhm.
Early on in the film, they introduce Matt Damon, and he likes to pluck the. First of all, he needs to string the bow, and
Dwong.
he got buff enough to convince you that he can do that, which is cool, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That's why you take this role, by the way, is you work out for several years to get
Right.
that body.
Yeah.
This is
Grow
my
a
last
beard,
chance to
work
do
on the
this.
muscles.
and he has
Work
a
on the
thing
muscle.
where he says, like, I like to like pluck the bowstring before I shoot the animal because like that's
Give
the
him a
most
fair chance.
That's the most
Yeah.
honorable. And
Yeah.
you see him do it throughout the film, and then the final time he
Yep.
does it, the score like crescendos, and it matches the note that he hits.
It goes dong 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 dong, and
Yeah,
it leads up to it.
and it's like when he plucked it, I was like, oh my god, I'm
My
like
crowd
losing my
erupted.
mind. That is amazing.
People were jumping up
Yeah.
and clapping.
Yeah, it's
during
Yeah,
that.
so
and,
good.
and he's
Slow.
about to just lay the hammer down on some fools too.
Right,
So it's,
right,
you
right.
feel
Yeah,
it.
that
you
was
know,
also
it's-
very. It's just like, oh, this is so. How did
But
they
then-
make this so badass? Like this is a
Yeah.
text that's thousands of years old. They made it so badass.
And then that's the moment when the score just decides to go. And you're just like, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, basically like the bowstring and the note that it plays
Yeah.
is the climactic moment of the score. Is basically what I'm
Yeah.
trying to communicate, and
Yeah.
it's incredible.
It's
to
cool.
experience in the theater. All right.
All those little things. There's so many little things like that. But let's go scene by scene because I'll
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
up
sure.
what I love.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the other big sequences. I don't have a scene by scene breakdown, but let's just talk about the big sequences, right? So there is the Cyclops scene. Now,
Yeah. Well, but let's talk about the opening first because I think it
okay.
does do a good job of setting up Penelope as not somebody who is just like sitting and waiting, right? She is actively working to prolong this whole suitor thing. Like she is an active agent in the story. I appreciate that. Let's talk about Robert Pattinson, who has put on the best shit heel face. Like you just want to,
Yeah.
every word that guy says, every look he gives, like, I just want to punch that guy in the face. Tremendous performance.
it is a tremendous performance because he is incredibly hateable in
Wanna
this
hate
film.
There is, if you had never heard of Robert Pattinson
Uh-huh.
and you watched this movie,
Right.
no one would be able to convince you he's ever been the romantic lead in anything. Like you would never believe that
Right.
he's ever been the hero of a movie. You're like, there's no way, because that guy is a shitbird. And like,
Right.
there's no way
Yeah.
anyone would ever root for him. Yeah.
He was a superhero in a film that made $800 million worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally a moment where Batman and Spider-Man are facing off
Right.
against each other in this
amazing.
movie.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Catwoman's
Mhm.
watching.
But he is this sniveling, undignified, hateable character that has
From the beginning.
From
He
the
doesn't even
beginning.
build up to that. From the beginning. He's
Yeah.
a little shit. And I
Yeah.
kind of appreciate that sometimes. Sometimes you need a villain you
Absolutely.
just hate.
You appreciate his ability to really inhabit this role. He's also going to play Chris Hansen later this year in
Oh, boy.
a documentary, or sorry, not a documentary, a movie about To Catch a Predator. So very curious how much of this energy he's going to bring to that role. Okay, so shall we get to the set pieces, Devindra, or anything else you want to talk about?
Yes.
Okay, so the big set pieces, right? The Cyclops. Now, I have
Played
to
by
say,
Bill Irwin, by the way. Bill Irwin motion capturing the Cyclops. I love that man.
He's
so
Mr.
much.
Motion Capture.
Yeah.
I have to say, the way the Cyclops was depicted worked for me, it just
Mhm.
physically, like how it looked and sounded. But I have to say, I'm not really sure about this version of Odysseus that we get in this scene,
Mhm.
because
He's a
he
goddamn
comes
idiot.
off as kind of a moron, right?
Yes.
Where he's like, "We're just charging in here." Now,
He's
okay,
not a
I'm gonna
perfect
shoot him
hero.
one more time, guys.
now,
Yeah.
now, I did think to myself, hey, he just pulled off this whole Trojan horse thing. So maybe he's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really cocky coming off
They
of
were on that beach for 10 years.
Right,
It
and-
was
and
his
he-
idea that won this. Yeah.
And he's cocky coming off of that. But then literally that thought I just described is
Mhm.
undermined by the end of the film, right? Because the end of the film, you find out what his real mental state was
Yeah.
at that time. And it's not, hey, I'm a badass triumphant guy. So
No.
I just don't like this version of Odysseus that we get at the beginning of this film.
This is Odysseus though. Like he is not a perfect hero. He is somebody dealing with his flaws. Like the entire story is about him and his guilt. Even if you don't look at the interpretation of this movie, it is that he is an imperfect hero. He's definitely built up as a hero, but he makes bad choices. He makes bad moves. This movie doesn't even get into this, but he has a child with Circe. Technically, we don't touch on that at all here. But he spends some time there and he has a child with her. And like, he is a guy making bad decisions. He's not always faithful to his wife. He's not always faithful to his men. That specific scene feels like, hey, here's some cheese. Let's take some cheese.
Yeah.
And Himesh Patel's character is like, maybe not. Maybe we should go. This is a big, scary cave. Maybe we should leave. I like that whole sequence because you have no idea what's going on. They're like, what the hell is this? It's a giant with one eye. They don't know what's going on. They don't know how to communicate, but that thing, it's the first time you see the impossible in this movie. And I like how tiny and how puny the humans seemed against this giant Cyclops.
Yeah, just like the way that the light is let into the cave. By the way, one of the things we haven't mentioned is the film seems to be shot in almost completely all natural lighting, which I have to say is really impressive. Like there's scenes,
and also the first film fully shot in IMAX too. By the way, that's why I'm going to see it. So
and
yeah,
I don't know this to be true. It may not be, but it certainly looks a lot like the actors are not heavily make-upped.
Yeah, I think that's right. And so it's sometimes unflatteringly so. Right?
Exactly.
And so I think and it leads to like some really challenging technical situations where, hey, we want to depict a whole army rushing into this city at night, but it's night. And so everything needs to be illuminated by torchlight, basically. And but also he uses that to some really badass effect.
The movie's very dark.
It's very dark.
Very dark.
It's a very dark movie.
Yes.
Overall. So anyway, I really enjoyed some of the sequences from some of the moments from the Cyclops thing. Again, not loving the characterization of Odysseus, but when I say loving the characterization of Odysseus, I mean it doesn't feel consistent to me with what the film has described him as. But the part when they're all like have the straw on their back and they're crawling out and the Cyclops is like touching them.
Yeah. I love all the attempts by it. Let's just run. Nope. Doesn't work.
I killed a couple dudes.
that didn't work. A couple guys died there. Let's poke him in the eye. Okay. That's at least a step, It is his flaws. It's his flaws as a hero that makes him an interesting character because leaving, they're like, what are you doing? Don't shoot him again. And Himesh Patel is like, let's just go. We're good here. And he loses more men because of this, right? He basically pokes the gods in the eye even more.
Yeah. There is the scene of them then going into, but by the way, like, I love that at the beginning of the film, or towards the beginning of the film, they're like, Agamemnon's taking like the regular supply route. And he's like, oh, it's okay. We can just take the other. And it's like, oh, wow. If he'd just taken that route, they'd have been home in no time. Would have been fine. So that one decision, very faithful.
By the way, Benny Safdie playing Agamemnon.
I just saw that.
You would never know in a million years. It could have been anybody.
It's interesting the way they chose not to show his face for pretty much the whole film. You see like glimpses of it, but
I feel like if you're hiding a face like that, it has to be a more, like a bigger actor at that point. It's like Edward Norton in Kingdom of Heaven, right?
He is like Tom Hanks or something.
Yeah. A bigger surprise.
Tom Hanks
Tom Cruise the whole time.
Yeah. So I don't remember what comes next exactly, but they do end up on the island of those gigantic
Centurion dudes.
What do you want to call them, right?
Love it. Again, like I love the setup for that too. It's like little girl just laughing at them, then leading to this whole thing. It feels so real.
Amazing. That
sequence is amazing.
I mean,
and it feels very Lord of the Rings too. Yeah,
an hour and a half into the movie by that point, but it's an incredible sequence, and it's another one where in any other movie those dudes are all CG. And it's a big CG action sequence, and here doesn't seem to be. I don't know how they did it exactly to have those guys be that huge in comparison, but it certainly doesn't seem to be
like CG
characters.
creation.
It's
They don't seem
physical
like all
somehow.
CG creations.
Yeah.
They are the Laestrygonians. Laestrygonians is who they are. Typically, they don't make it into these adaptations, but they're here and they're terrifying. Also, the way the forest seemingly moves around them is like, wow, how did they achieve that? That's
they
very
made
cool.
like little cages.
Picking up and flinging dudes.
Right,
Pretty
flinging
cool.
dudes, and then the dude breaks the tree in half. It's incredible.
I love how all these sequences are basically Odysseus and his men being like, "This is messed up. Run away, run away every
what
time.
Are we gonna run from next? Hey, is there food here? Oh shit!
Run away, run away. It's like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And then they get reduced down to one ship, and the way in which that happens is extremely brutal. Like
and incredibly visualized. I mean, the what are they called? Lilliputians? What are they called?
Laestrygonians.
Yeah, the Laestrygonians are
the opposite,
just hacking away at the ships and then just physically tipping them over. Amazing,
brutal.
And come to my forest.
They cannot be reasoned with at all. Like they just
they don't try talking either. I like that bit with the Cyclops where they're like, oh, he's talking, he's calling for Poseidon. We didn't really try. We're probably past conversation, right? Probably past reasoning with it at this point.
Yeah,
maybe you could have started there. Yeah.
Here's one of the things that the modernizing does do is it lets there be a lot of humor in this film, which I think they're actually.
I don't know about a lot of humor.
By Christopher Nolan standards,
by Christopher Nolan standards,
this is a lot more humor than there was in Oppenheimer, in my opinion. So
Anyway. Tenet was a laugh riot.
Yeah. So they arrive at Circe's island.
Love it.
Oh, dude, this might be my favorite section of the entire movie. I think it's the section that establishes and maintains tension in the coolest way. And again, the score is doing a ton of work here because the score is like amped up during all of this sequence, and it was during the boat moment we were just talking about. But having the crew be like, no, you're the one who stays behind. He's like, is this a mutiny? And he's like, that's up to you. Great line.
I misinterpret. Yeah, that was a great moment. I actually misinterpreted it. I thought they were going to leave Odysseus on the island, and then they were going to leave. They're like, we think you should stay here, and we're going to go. So I misinterpreted that. But yeah, in general, Christopher Nolan shoots medium angle lenses, right? Medium angle, not very much shallow depth of field. But he really pulled out the shallow depth of field for this Circe sequence when she's shaping their heads to be animals.
Even before we get there, like leading up to it, I love the buildup. The buildup in this movie is always good. You're walking up. What the hell is a tiger doing? What the hell is a lion doing here? And they're just chilling. Like the guys are like, are these red flags? I don't know. I'm going to keep going. Yeah,
it's amazing what hunger will do.
Oh, crazy witch lady is offering us food. Sure, why not?
Well, the biggest thing is when she says, "Take off your armor," and there's already tons of armor outside. It's
and they're like,
"What are you doing, guys?"
That's probably fine.
I'm sure that's fine. She just loves armor.
She just loves it. No red flags there. Again, men, you deserve this. You deserve this. Whatever came to you.
This is probably the closest that Christopher Nolan has ever come to directing a horror sequence. I think. Like just the way she shapes the heads, and I love that they're
before
like
that the eating,
the eating, and
I
want to
know what the direction was. Like, I want you guys to eat in the most horrific. I want you to eat in a way that will make me want to throw up when I watch.
You cannot stop eating no matter what. Like you are compelled to continue eating.
It also it reminds me of Spirited Away quite a bit too. I feel like some echoes of these mythologies, last in our societies, and it's the same thing in Spirited Away, like a ravenous eating, like pigs, and it turns you into pigs.
Yeah. But then Odysseus is able to talk his men out of it, and they get out of there.
Let's come on. Let's do this. Odysseus is out there fighting it, like trying to shoot a deer, doing the pluck, doing the thing. I love the reveal. He walk up, naked dude.
And you kind of know what it's going to be when you get there, but it's like a great reveal.
By this point, the men have already been transformed. So something weird is happening. He reveals it. He runs up. I love the conversation, him just walking in, and you can see the pigs are just like, watch out. The pigs are like heightened, like trying to stop him a little bit too. Yeah, and he is trying to outsmart her. All these little elements, I think, really add to the texture of this movie. Like, it is really thoughtful in terms of how it portrays these sequences, even if it's like a little confusing at first.
Well, did one of you mention that Odysseus technically has a child with Circe? Right?
In the story
So
he does.
I
Yeah.
do think that this movie really whitewashes Odysseus in many ways, right? Like he doesn't have this kid with Circe. Calypso, they are. My understanding is they know each other biblically.
I think
the
it's
story.
pretty. You're on an island with Charlie Theron for 7 years.
Yeah.
She's a nymph,
but they
Yeah.
don't. They don't like depict that. They don't even like really hint at
No,
that at
they
all.
don't.
Do we
in
want
the
another
movie.
Christopher Nolan sex scene? Do you remember what happened last time?
No, I don't think you need a
we
sex
got that?
scene.
You
but
don't need a sex scene, but
the notion that
it's-
he's
that's
loyal
right.
to his wife through this
That's right.
entire period
That's right.
is implied heavily. Yeah.
That's right. And that is not the case
Mhm.
with the original story.
Right.
And I am curious, like, why? I guess maybe Nolan thought that would make him more relatable or more easy
Noble.
to root for, right?
Yeah.
You know,
It's a little
that's,
puritanical,
yeah,
like a lot
Yeah.
puritanical, honestly.
yeah,
but I didn't. I guess the movie does not really show that they have had sex, but also I don't know what the implication there is too, because he's under the effect of the lotus leaves, right? He's not
Right.
fully himself, so if he did do that, they're on a break.
they do show
They're on a
the
break. It's totally
baby,
fine.
baby, we're on a break.
My mind was clouded by the lotus
We're on a
leaves.
break.
They-
I was inside a horse. I was inside
Yeah. a
lady. What are you gonna do?
I was mouthful of lotus leaves. I don't know what I was doing.
Is that what they're calling them? So there is a moment when she describes him falling in love, and then
Yes.
you see them
She
holding
loves
hands.
him.
You see
She
them
loves
holding
him,
hands.
they're
for a
holding
second. Yeah,
hands.
she loves him.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it is at very least only mildly implied that they might have slept with each other. And I actually
I mean,
think
literally,
it's worth,
what else are they gonna do?
What else are they
It
going
shows
to do?
them no other activities available.
Well,
to them.
He
what
was
was
stuck
also
for 10 years on that beach with just dudes. I think my man's a little thirsty. That's all.
What's interesting too is I believe in the original story, right? Calypso's island, Ogygia, is
Mhm.
is like a verdant, like beautiful, lush place.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he chose to depict it as a desert in this one. But yeah, I guess it's worth pointing out just because
Mhm.
obviously he's sanding some of the edges, some of the shaggy elements off of the story. And
This is
making
a
it
true love
more of a
story.
simple tale as opposed to
Yes.
Odysseus fucked this person and he had sex with this person, and
No,
then it like
I think
complicates it, right?
It seems to be
Mhm.
very important to him that Penelope and Odysseus's love is
Right.
pure.
Right?
Yes, and
Untainted.
that's
in
right.
both
And they would
directions.
wait for each other as long as it took, and all
Right.
that stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that does change things significantly.
change
from the
it.
source
Sure.
material.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you can decide whether you appreciate that change from the
He's not just holding hands with Calypso. Sorry. I'm sorry. Like,
You
yeah.
think
what
the
else would
movie
they do with
implies
it?
that? I don't think
I don't
so.
think
I
so
think the
either.
movie implies
I
that
don't think
he's
the
true
movie
to
implies
Penelope the
that.
whole
I agree.
time.
There is no and the movie does have an implication of sex when earlier on Penelope and
Yeah.
Odysseus have sex. So it's not
Yeah.
it's not like the movie doesn't know how to depict that kind of stuff. I would say it is at
Barely.
the very best.
I
vague.
feel like Nolan learned his lessons. Like, oh, I'm starting a sex scene. Cut away.
That's
Cut
right.
away before
Yeah.
it gets
That's
really
right.
awkward.
But Devindra, he didn't do
Yeah.
that with Calypso. So I
It's
think
true. You're
at
right.
the very
You
least
are right.
it's
You are
vague,
right.
in my opinion.
But
All
again,
right.
in my head canon, buddy, what are you
That's
doing
fine.
there? You're there for 7 years. I
That's
don't.
fine.
What else are we gonna do? Yeah.
I
Okay,
mean,
let's talk about the thing of Menelaus, the Greek king of Sparta, played by John Barenthal. So this is one
Lovely.
of the stops that Telemachus makes on the way to the priests. And Jeff, you seem to think this whole section was completely unnecessary. I mean, it was primarily an info dump, I would say. It was
Yes.
primarily an exposition dump, right? Of
And this
like-
is our only glimpse of Helen of Troy, too. So this scene
Right.
is kind of necessary to like this. This is why all this happened.
right.
Somebody
Yeah,
kidnapped
but-
her. This whole thing. Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't think it's additive in the context of this film. I don't think it's necessary. And in a movie that's this long and sort of shorthands other things, this is one of the things that I would have
Mhm.
excised.
I love those conversations though, because otherwise, what the hell does Telemachus do? He's like a little whiny boy. It's like, make me king, mommy. This is an active thing he does. He's like, okay, I'm going to figure out what the hell happened to my dad. You're stuck here, like
Mhm.
with the suitor. It's fine.
Right.
I'm going to go do something. So it feels like at the very least, he is an active agent in this story. And John Barenthal, they don't really say Spartans too loudly, but come on. Who are you going to make the king of the Spartans in this day and age? Gerard Butler has kind of aged out of it. So you've got John Barenthal right there. I love those conversations because it conveys the sort of respect he had for Odysseus, the way they welcome Telemachus in, but also the really gross way he treats Helen is just like, it tells you a lot about this story. Lupita Nyong'o does not get many chances to speak in this movie, but she is there as a presence, and the way he like physically turns her head, I was like, oh, that's gross. That is gross, but that is the driving force. It is men and the ownership they have of women that caused all of this. Really, like we never see. She was supposed to escape to Troy with Paris. We never see Paris. We never see the instigating moment of this entire story.
Right.
But we get a glimpse of Helen. So that's why I think Brinthal just like added a great amount of like pathos to the story, and he is a father figure to Telemachus, who doesn't really have one at this point because he is surrounded by dudes who want to kill him. This is one dude who's like, hey, I'm going to be real with you, buddy. This is one way you can survive, is to figure out a way with the suitors. This gives him the plan of one way they can deal with them, basically.
Yeah, and why don't we just finish off the Telemachus plotline now and talk about like the scene with the temple? I actually really enjoyed, right, when he finally gets to the temple and Odysseus is there and warns him, hey, these guys are here to kill you, and then Odysseus starts killing everyone, and yeah, I thought that was pretty cool sequence. Enjoyed that one. Enjoyed that one.
We really have to interrogate like why Matt Damon loves to play this guy, right? The guy who he's fighting his way back home, potentially lost his memory. He has made this movie so many times, and once again, he's here, secret badass. It turns out am I a beggar? No, I'm a secret badass.
Oh my god, it's Jason Bourne. Basically.
Oh my god!
It's Jason Bourne, right?
It's Odysseus.
I had a thought, and you guys are gonna hate this, but I was like, can you imagine this movie if Odysseus is played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Shut up, Jeff. Don't ruin a movie for me.
I don't know. I think that'd be kind of badass.
I think it would have been, in some ways, more plausible that he's the only one that can string that bow.
Yes,
know?
And he's like,
perhaps, yeah.
The Rock is getting to the right age where he's kind of like, you'd see him as this aging warrior in a way that Matt Damon just isn't. I think Matt Damon's great in the movie. Yeah, no doubt about it.
The Rock has no range, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna tear down this idea immediately, but I'm sorry. Like the crucial work of this movie is not the badassery. It is him being vulnerable, being like, what the hell have I done? It is him dealing with the guilt. It is him dealing with the fact that I need to get back to my family somehow and trying to like interrogate that, and also the guilt of like being away from them for so long. This is such a nuanced role. I agree that it is kind of unbelievable that Matt Damon's the only one that can string that bow. That is true, because that seems like it takes pure muscle strength.
A couple of other sequences I want to mention. There is the sirens, and I thought that was a pretty great sequence. That's going to be on Matt Damon's Best Actor Oscar reel right there. It was
losing his
screaming
shit
in agony. I will say the setup was a little strange, where I believe in the book, if I recall correctly, the reason he doesn't get earwax in his ears is so he can continue to command the men. Yeah. And instead, this one, it just feels like
I want to feel it, baby.
I just want to feel something. I just want to, like,
have you guys ever been curious what those sirens sound like?
Yeah, no one has ever heard the sirens and survived. He's like, that's why I'm going to be the first.
Yeah.
It's this very kind of.
Go.
And I can withstand anything. But even before that, like his brief glimpse into hell, I love that whole sequence too.
Yeah,
like
the way Hades is depicted in the movie is pretty spectacular.
Incredible. It's on the black sand beach.
Incredible. And then the way they're all blackened and besooted.
Right.
It is
and the guys coming out of the ground and just, I mean, basically any scene where you have like 50 of these dudes on a beach somewhere. It's like, wow, it took enormous logistical expertise to even make that happen.
The dragging
happens like a dozen times during the course of this movie.
A dozen times, but the dragging the Trojan horse, I keep looking back at that. Seems like, Mike, did they just do that?
I think we skipped over the sacking of Troy.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, it happens at the end of the movie. You know, that's the big one.
Happened, yeah. But
we could talk about the actual Trojan horse stuff, though.
I want to talk about that because
that is wild.
I think it's a bold, interesting version of the Trojan horse mythology, and certainly the interior of the Trojan horse. It's like unbelievable and just a gut-wrenching sequence that is You'd never think of it that way,
Right.
but then you go like, oh, of course it would be like that.
I've imagined this. I've read about this for so long, Jeff. And I was like, how would that work? How would you really stuff a bunch of dudes in that and not seem like totally believable?
Yeah,
It's so brutal.
awful. Like the flooding of it and the straw, that was crazy. But I'm thumbs up for all of that imagery and thumbs up for how that all worked. That said, and you guys can correct me if I'm off base here because it's been a heck of a long time since I've read the Odyssey. But I feel like the fact that they just completely remove the notion that the Trojan horse is a gift undermines the whole Zeus's law theme.
That is not removed from the film.
No, it's there. They say it's a gift.
They say it's a gift.
Okay, but
Elliot Page at the beginning is like,
it's just this thing they find on the beach.
No. The idea is that they have fled the beach. And they have left the gift behind as
with
like,
Elliot Page.
This is with Elliot Page. This is a peace offering. The war is over. We're convincing you that the war is over.
Yes.
This is a peace offering.
He says it's a gift, basically.
So that is in the.
Do you think that's how that lands in the movie?
Yes, I mean that's how it landed for me. But yeah,
that's how it landed for me. I agree. It is a little, again, it's a little elliptical. It's a little wonky because this is Nolan, but it is like, I think they looked at it and was like, oh, it's a beautiful sculpture. I think we can interrogate how they built that thing. From the remnants of the ship that they had,
I know, right?
On the shore. Like,
Good work,
how long
boys.
did that take?
Yeah, but Jeff, I think you're saying like there are many ways in which this deviates from our classical conception of this story, right? We have seen depictions where it's on wheels. First of all, that's a huge difference.
Yeah,
they wheel it up to the front, and they're like, "Here you go.
We have a gift for you.
Here you go." Right?
And the movie is so obsessed with this notion of
Zeus's law
and and grace and giving the gift and all that stuff. I feel like having it feel like a piece of salvage, even if it's explicitly was a gift at one point. They come up, they kill Elliot Page. They take it as this kind of piece of salvage. It doesn't feel to me like the classical notion of what the Trojan horse is, which is I got you to take my gift kind of deal. It feels like it undermines that notion in stylistically.
I think like realistically, how would they get it there, right? To do the old way of doing it, put wheels on it and like bring it up to the gates or something, they probably be killed instantly. I get it. I see what you're saying. I just love the sort of like verisimilitude they took of portraying like how you would actually do the Trojan horse thing, where the camera's in there as they're like moving it, as they're dragging it, as they pull it upright. One of my favorite moments in this movie, the guy goes up and is like, okay, is this thing full? Like what's going on?
Are there people in here?
Are people in here? Stabs the guy. They muffle his screams, and somebody wipes the sword.
Amazing.
Yes.
Incredible.
Cleans the blood because the soldier looks at the blood, looks at the sword. Is like, oh, all right.
No blood.
We're all good here.
Okay.
No blood. Good. All good here. It's such a quick moment. You could easily miss it, but it's a
brilliant touch. That
it's
the wiping of the blade,
very similar moment to the Raid Redemption, by the way. Extremely similar moment happens in that film. Which is where I'm sure Christoper Nolan got it, by the way. I'm just going to put that out there. But yes, it does have this kind of extreme verisimilitude. Guys, I discovered I do not want to be at the bottom of the Trojan horse.
Don't want to be there.
The
never
final
want to be
segment of a human centipede. You know, you do
not
want to be.
You want to be the horse's ass. That's where you don't want to be.
Well, you either drown at the high tide or you're covered in shit and piss.
They had to draw straws to be like, who's going at the bottom? Who's going to the bottom of the horse?
The other thing that's really cool about how that all is depicted is that the very beginning of the movie, you see Elliot Page get murdered. Stabbed into the horse. Right. And then later on, you see Odysseus's view of that inside.
And it's the same dialogue.
And the muffled dialogue. Yeah. And then the sword pops through. It's like, it's so cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm like, that is classic Christoper Nolan shit right there.
Yeah.
I actually got super confused. I was like, because earlier on in the film, there's like a traveler that comes in. That's not Odysseus though, is it? Is that
no? That is a traveler.
That's a different dude. And I was like, wait, is that guy Odysseus from the? I thought like Christoper Nolan was pulling like the twist is that was Odysseus the whole time, but I don't think it was. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, okay. So the fast forwarding to the end, right? the final hour of the film, 45 minutes of the film, is basically Odysseus returns home and needs to figure out what to do in that situation. I love
real
that
Obi-Wan
Agamemnon
Kenobi shit.
seeded it in, right? Where he says, hey, FYI, maybe when you go home, like, assess the situation first.
Don't make my mistake.
Which I love. I love that, he's careful about it. And
but they also, the way they set that up too, it's like he's welcomed home, but also we remember that glimpse. He sacrificed his daughter. Somebody's probably mad about that. Somebody. Probably his wife.
And here's where I sympathize with Jeff a little bit, where it's like, that stuff was really sped through. Like,
it's sped through.
Where it's like his daughter is shown for like less than 10 seconds, right? And so we need to then, he had a daughter. Oh, he sacrificed her. Oh, his wife was mad about it. Like, okay, I guess,
but he's so committed that he sacrificed his daughter to you.
Sure.
Like, that tells you about that character before you even see his face.
He's basically not a character though in this film. You know what I mean?
I
Like
agree.
that's the problem with that I have.
And there's a number of those.
Yeah, there's a number of those. Yep. But again, the main through line of Odysseus needs to get home to his kid. It still worked for me. He gets home to his kid. I was deeply moved when his son sees him for the first time. Like he took the dog, which is like that is a reference to the thing from the text of the dog, right? And the dog recognizes him, and then that's when Telemachus knows, like, oh, that's Dad. And they have this meeting in front of the house, and it's like where his son sees him for the very first time. It's beautiful. That's probably the emotional highlight of the movie for me, other than maybe the plucking of the bow.
It is funny though, like. I couldn't help but have the thought. He walks up to the dog and he pets it, and the dog passes away. And I expected Tom Holland to come up and be like, "Did you just kill my dad's dog?"
Yeah, that would have been less impactful. But then he goes in and he's treated very badly by all the suitors, and then he has the conversation with Penelope, right, where he kind of recounts everything that happened, and that's when we get to the emotional climax of the movie, which is that the reason he didn't want to come home is because war had changed him.
Yeah,
like being away from home had changed him. And I have to confess that when I've read the story of Odysseus, like, I've never really focused on any of these elements before. It's always, when I've read in like high school or whatever, middle school, it's always been, hey, a guy goes on these wacky adventures and then he gets home, right? But it never occurred to me that there was a part of him that didn't want to go home. I don't know, like, to what degree that's an addition from
the sacking of Troy. Like, there are so many stories about the sacking of Troy, and the fact that that is the climax of this movie. It's like, oh, we're the baddies.
Yeah.
We murdered everybody in this
Zeus's
town.
law,
We have violated Zeus's law by bringing a gift and, violating that, but also murdering everybody in the city. I allowed my men to do this. Circe kind of has like a bit of that too. Like, your men, you just let them here. You know what they can do, but you let them to my house, or let them come to my house, and I'm just a woman here all alone. It is that guilt, like, that he is dealing with, because he fought for a king. He fought a war because somebody kidnapped somebody's wife. And was it worth the loss? Like, the time he took away from his wife, from all the people that died, all the men that died. This is a movie where Odysseus is reckoning with, like, all the damage he's done to the world. I found that genuinely moving. I did not think the movie would actually go there.
The most beautiful element of it is the Zendaya of it all, where he has been seeing
Zendaya,
he'd been seeing Athena in this way, the goddess, in his vision, his vision of her. No one else sees her, and we realize he's been, imagining her as this young girl that he saw murdered.
Yeah,
and I think that is the beautiful twist, if you want to call it that.
That's right. Was Zendaya really there the whole time, or was it, or was Athena really there?
The idea is that whatever he communes with the goddess,
right?
He is personifying her in his vision as this element of his guilt.
That's right.
And I think that's it beautifully communicated in the movie.
Agreed. But I think this take on the film also just makes it extremely relevant to our current times, the moment we're living in, of these are a people that forgot goodness, that forgot Zeus's law, that horrifically violated Zeus's law in the most upsetting way imaginable. And how can you come back from that, right? How, like, maybe you don't want to go back to where you were because you're afraid of what the implications of that are. And I just found that to be just shockingly shockingly relevant for the moment that we're living through, of like people that have forgotten goodness, right? And yeah,
goodness. And God, and you know, Zeus's law, God's law, any religion's law is the golden rule, right? It's treat others how you would choose to be treated. And it does seem to be the case that the people who most venerate, you know, God, often forget that simple truth, and it certainly seems to be the case in modern times. And the movie makes a beautiful case for that, and it is heart-wrenching at the end to realize that's where we've been heading this whole time. Is we've just forgot the simple basic truth that is, you know, the most important part of
life.
Be kind.
Be kind.
The realization that they are the people from the sea too, I think, kind of really hammers all that home to, like, you are the ones we've been warned about that would basically destroy our society. And
we do it to ourselves.
A lot of it feels like, again, echoes of what we would eventually see in Lord of the Rings, right? Like, this age of society is dying, and maybe it'll come back, but based on what we've done, like, we are practically the ones ending our civilization right now.
So then they do the bow and arrow thing, which is very amusing, and stringing the bow. And then when he finally strings the bow, it's totally badass. I love that. Didn't super love the action scene that came after it, I have to say.
It's not great. But
my brother's reaction was, wow, he really didn't have a plan for that. Like, he
doesn't. He's like, often he is the one holding the IMAX camera and like trying to follow things, but it feels messy. It feels messier.
But not even the filming of it, which I agree with you, Devindra, is messy. But it's
Odysseus didn't have
literally
a plan.
Odysseus is like, I'm just gonna go at him.
I'm just gonna
wing
dudes,
it.
and we'll see how it goes.
Dudes and cutting, and you know, maybe it's all
this is where the phrase. Yeah, this is where the phrase "I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me" came from.
Yeah,
I love that dude. Literally, like, I'm gonna go to the ceiling and just pound a hole through the floor,
right? And just like start dropping.
I'm just gonna give my friends some weapons.
Yeah, and Antinius is behind a pillar. Get him! Get the spears! Get the spears!
Right. I liked Antinius, like, just being a sort of weakling
coward
and telling coward, right, and telling everyone to like that. I like that they gave Telemachus something to do during the scene, because he can't hurt anyone or else he'll be exiled. I don't know who's actually keeping track of these rules at this point, but whatever.
The gods are.
But then Matt Damon's just like winging it. He's just like, okay, I'm just gonna try killing everyone, and maybe it's all gonna work out. And you know,
then I just started blasting, basically.
Blasting.
And he did. And he did. Arrow by arrow by arrow.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Any other thoughts on anything I didn't bring up that we want to discuss?
There's a large swath of the movie that we skipped over, which is dudes on a boat. And I loved all the dudes on the boat stuff.
They built those boats, and those boats had giant sails. Like the work it took just to lift those sails in those early scenes. Man, we don't need AI. Human effort is what made this movie.
The sequence where they're like, well, let's stop here. And he's like, I don't think we should stop there. He's like, but we need to eat. And he's like, yeah, there's a bunch of delicious cows. Don't touch any of those delicious cows. Yeah. And I love how we were waiting on the wind to change, and it won't change. And then we eat the delicious cows. And then, you know, I just thought that whole that last hour of this movie, I think, nearly flawless. You know, as much as the first hour didn't work for me, I was so won over by the final hour of the movie, where, you know, the last sequence of basically everything from Samantha Morton on in the movie is just banger after banger after banger. And you know, by the time we're like getting home, and then we have all of, you know, Matt Damon back and dealing with all that stuff, I think the movie really finds its groove. But I loved all the men on the boat. I love all of the, you know, whittling them down. Yeah. You know, all the things they have to deal with, the whirlpool, the creature, it's just all so great.
Yeah, there's so much texture
by the way,
in
I
this
do want to
movie.
point out they did build boats, as Devindra points out, but they
Yes.
also used existing ships as well for the movie, so they're not all completely built for the ship.
That's fine, but they're still they're boats.
They're real.
They're not like projections
They're
of the
real.
volume in the background. Like
And he apparently
they're
filmed
real.
at sea as well for parts of the film. And
Basically,
so,
my understanding is exactly the same way they filmed live action Moana.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the problem with this one though. Not enough rock in this one. Not enough. Dwayne
That's
Johnson.
what I said.
I know.
That's what you said.
That's what you
After
said. That's
walking out of Moana, that's what you're saying.
Dude, listen, joke all you want.
If
I think The
Heracles
Rock
was in the story, if Hercules was in the story somewhere, sure, that's what The Rock is for. He was already Hercules once.
I don't know, man. I think he could. I think in the right hands. The problem is The Rock is never used right, and maybe that's part a him problem.
I think he doesn't want to be used right. Yeah,
I don't think Christopher Nolan had any interest in that at all. But man, and Matt Damon's great. I'm not saying Matt Damon's not great. I think The Rock could have done it. I think he could have done it.
What is it about Matt Damon? We got to get this guy home.
We really do.
We have to Saving Private Ryan.
It doesn't matter who else dies or what money we spend. We got to get this dude home.
So I wasn't a huge fan of the earlier characterizations of Odysseus. I think because of the reveal we get at the end. The idea is that war has damaged him. He's walking onto the shore shell-shocked after the sacking of Troy. By the way, sacking of Troy has one of the best shots I've ever seen in a film when he goes to the gate and he drops like the coals or whatever, and then boom, it like illuminates like all the soldiers
dudes
outside the gate.
Yeah,
incredible, amazing.
What about the shot where they finally open the gates and we just keep that camera on the ground and everybody runs past?
Everyone runs around,
and then Benny Safdie shows up at the
end. For some reason. The guy from Good Time is there. Anyway, so he's like shell shocked, but then like the version we get of Odysseus is cocky and I want to experience the sirens. Let's go into the Cyclops cave. Like it's such like a cocky version of him, and so I understand the idea of like he's cocky, he thinks he's all that, and then he gets like humbled by everything that happens and needs to build himself back up. That through line didn't really work for me upon this first viewing, because at the end he's supposed to have already achieved that point by the beginning of the film.
That's where the convoluted time telling works against you. I
agree. So maybe I'm picking too many nits, but the reveal that's why he didn't want to go home at the end of the film is like, oh well, then none of his behavior made any sense,
because at the beginning of the movie,
maybe you can be PTSD from war and also cocky. Maybe that's.
I don't think you're supposed to unpack that.
It takes a while. It takes 7 years with Circe, or not Circe, with the other one, Calypso, to unpack that. 7 years of just holding hands on the beach. That's all they did. That's what Christopher Nolan wants us to think. Charlie Theron's like, we could do many more things. Nope. I'm good.
They don't even,
with my lotus flowers to grow,
buddy.
They don't even hint at it. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, any other thoughts? And so the movie ends, I think, quite beautifully with them heading off and him wanting to honor the men whose lives he carelessly wasted during the course of the Odyssey.
Son, I'll never see you again because now I'm exiled.
Right.
Or at least he will not see him for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's always did they even wonder, like, putting Tom Holland and Zendaya in a movie together? Did we like, guys, come on, can we be a little more creative here? I don't know. I like Zendaya.
This is the second movie that they will be in this summer together.
This summer,
they never see each other.
$500 million.
And they never see each other in this movie.
They never see each other in this movie. They just got married. I feel like every little bit of this. I was talking to Dave about this. Logan Marshall Green is in this movie of Upgrade fame. Yeah. The other guy who kind of looks like Tom Hardy, and he replaced Cosmo Jarvis, the other guy who looks like Tom Hardy. Was Tom Hardy just busy? Too busy to hang out with Chris Nolan again? It seems like he really wanted Tom Hardy in this movie.
I'm going to put this out there, guys. They should have built the Trojan horse more inland.
Yeah,
like why build it on the beach where someone can drown at the bottom of the horse?
That's where all the stuff was. That's where all the pieces
of ship was. You can move the stuff a lot easier before you build it.
the before
big,
you build
heavy
it, it's
thing.
the easiest time to move it.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
They
It's
could
like,
have just
don't build your bookcase outside of the room where you want to put it.
I would
you
have
know?
given I would have given anything for just a one shot of them building the horse. Because it is a spectacular build that they
Incredible build.
out of
Was one guy
scrap
just
wood.
like, I'm really good at building model animals, and I think I can just expand this. I think I could just like scale it up.
There's one guy who's useless as a sailor, but man, the guy, what a sculptor! What
a sculptor! And they probably took the like figurehead of a ship to be the horse's head. That's probably what I'm assuming. I don't know, because it looked extra deep.
Completely unexplained in every way.
Unexplained. Whatever. But shout out to, I just love everybody we see here. Again, I was so happy to see John Leguizamo in this movie.
Yeah,
Just
he was great.
little things.
He's
He
great
really
in the
is great.
film, and the moment, and he has a really nice laugh line at the end too when he says, "What happened? Is he dead?"
I know, it's funny. I think it's off camera. I think it's like just his
So he's
voice.
like in the background out of focus. He's like, "Is he dead?
Did we win?
What happened?
Did he win? Did he win the fight? It's so great.
And yeah, there's a bunch of moments like that are only possible when you have the kind of modernization that he attempted in the film. Now, whether that's worth the trade-off of it being very jarring for folks like Jeff, and I don't think Jeff is the only one. You'll have to decide. So,
You'll see.
At the end of the day, it is really impressive that Christoper Nolan made a movie.
The movie.
And thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.